8 years before the forced desegregation of Boston schools, Massachusetts crafted a unique program to increase diversity. Founded in 1966, the Metco program provided families in Boston and Springfield access to a wider choice of schools. Now, 50 years later, some question whether the state is taking the program for granted. It's the end of the school day at Needham High. Like other students, Joy Kofu and Shira Medina Diego are off to after-school activities.
My love of music is very, very huge. I'm taking AP Music Theory and AP Psych, so that should be good.
But in one respect, the two juniors are different. They aren't Needham residents. They're both in Metco, the program that lets about 3,200 Boston residents attend suburban school systems like Needham. Both Joy and Shira started in kindergarten so long ago they can hardly remember.
I remember having a lot of fun in kindergarten.
I don't know about my first day, but I do remember I had a really good friend. I made it very early on.
Joy's parents didn't plan to send their daughter to another school district. They were hoping for a pilot school near their home in Roslindale. But when Joy landed on the waiting list, her parents opted for Metco.
I think Needham High School has given me a broad range of education because there's so much opportunities at Needham. We have a really good arts program, music program, sports program. I think has really given me a more cultural experience than I would have received somewhere else.
Shira is the fourth Metco student in her family. She's grateful for the experience.
What Needham has given me is a better education than I would be getting at a Boston public school, generally speaking.
But Shira says Metco is a two-way street.
What I have given Needham, though, is an insight to what my friends and I of color go through, as in with coming to school, the recent budget cut, it's really affected us.
That's because the governor has proposed cutting $1 million from Metco's $19 million budget. For Joy, that might mean the end of bus service to Needham High.
The budget cut problem, I understand all of that, but I also want them to understand it's harder on us to have to wake up earlier and have to, try to just brave than BTA.
Metco high schoolers in Belmont and Brookline already take the T to and from school. But Needham is further away from Shira's home in Roxbury. She's worried about how a longer commute would affect her senior year and her sense of community.
They branded us as class of 2016. It gives you more of a identity at school, whereas you're not just a name on a roster, but you're more part of the community. So as the state faces tough budget choices, should funding Metco be a priority? I'm joined by Cheryl Maloney, who's the superintendent of the Weston Public Schools, which participate in the Metco program, and Jim Sturgis, the executive director of the Pioneer Institute. He's also held past positions in secondary and higher education. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Good to be with you. So I got to say at the outset that when we were trying to book people for this segment, we really wanted to find someone who was a Metco skeptic or thought the program wasn't working all that well. And we couldn't find anyone. Did we just, not call the right people, or is it almost unanimous this is an important program that is working well?
I think there are skeptics out there. Yeah. There are skeptics probably in a lot of local communities that are at the moment picking up more of the tab. But I think anyone who looks at the educational benefits of this program can't be a skeptic. The fact is, the graduation rate for kids who are part of Metco is about 30% higher than in Boston. The college enrollments, 2- and 4-year colleges, is about 30% higher than Boston. By any measure, the program is doing very, very well. And this is a population of kids that is, half of them are low income, 75% of them are Black and Hispanic, and about a quarter of them are actually special needs kids, and they're performing at a high level.
Cheryl Maloney, how many Metco participants do you have in the Weston schools?
We have 174 students. It's about 7.7% of our student population. They come to us in kindergarten, and as Jim referenced, they very successfully graduate from Weston High School and go on to higher education. And in addition to those statistics, which are impressive and show that the program is successful, I think one of the students referenced the benefits to the host community as well. The conversations are richer, the opportunity to learn side by side from children from different backgrounds, whether they be demographic, ethnic, racial, is a positive experience for all children in the school district, whether it be Needham or Brookline.
And in some communities, I would think, I mean, I live in Swampscott, and it's overwhelmingly white, and I know that my kids would not go to school with kids of color, very many at all, were it not for Metco. I'm guessing it's similar in Weston.
Well, Weston, as in other communities, is increasing the number of kids of color that live in Weston. But that said, it's still such a positive experience for our overall state. You know, to think about not funding or to cutting, and I want to come back a little bit to that cut in 1 second, a program that increases our understanding, our racial understanding, our ability to relate to each other at a time when our country needs these programs, needs these successful programs, is really disheartening. And the cut, we understand that our state is going through some budget issues, but most of the programs that were cut at a level of 1 to 2%. Metco was cut at a level of closer to 7%. So there's frustration there as well. Here's a racial imbalance solution, and yet, once again, a program that benefits is cut at a higher rate.
Let me ask you about that, Jim, because Pioneer obviously has a long history with now Governor Charlie Baker. Sure. What's your take on the percentage of the Metco budget that was cut, and whether it is, as Cheryl said, too much?
I wouldn't have cut it if I was there, but I wasn't elected.
Thank you, Jim.
Whatever that's worth. Look,
so you wouldn't have cut it at all?
Well, look, my view on this is informed by the following. And I have my daughter's, her best friends are in Metco, and to Doctor's point, I mean, it's a really important program for our kids. But I think really the priority perspective for me is the kids in Boston who need better options. Think about it for a second, step back for a sec. There are 80,000 kids, school-age kids in Boston. Over a quarter of them are opting out of the current district system because of many failures. Whether through charter schools, Metco, or private school options. If you look at the wait list for Metco, it's 8,000 long. There are 3,200 kids in it. Wow. There are 16,000 kids on charter school wait lists, right? That's another 20+ thousand, even if you take out the duplicates. What we're saying is over half the school-age kids want out of the district system. I would fund that as a priority. Now, here's where I think we have to look at reality. The governor was facing a $750+ million budget shortfall, had to close in 5 months. He has said during the campaign that he thinks Metco is a valuable program. I think the proof will be in the FY16 budget, which he's crafting now. And
I should mention it was cut by Governor Patrick as well.
Yes, it was.
Governor Patrick cut it almost every single year from about 21 million down to about 17 million. Last year brought it back up. So this is a long-standing problem. The state should prioritize Metco. I'm hopeful that in the 2016 budget we will see it made whole. And frankly, I'd love to see a conversation about can we expand this program.
You like that idea, Cheryl Maloney?
Absolutely.
Give you the last word here.
Thank you so much. And we're going on March 19th to the legislature to rally for increases in Metco budget. It's really an important program for the entire state of Massachusetts and our future.
All right, Cheryl Maloney, Jim Sturgis, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.